Hey everybody, Officer Brewer again with the Spartanburg City Police Department. Today we're out here off of 295 at one of our other training sites. We're going to continue our canine training. As you know, our dogs are dual purpose, meaning that they not only do narcotics finds, but they also do some human apprehension and tracking as well. So first thing we're going to do this morning, we're laying tracks for each other. We're going to let the track lay, let the scent lay, and for about 20 minutes, then we're going to put the dogs on the ground and see if we can find the hides that we've hidden out here. The purpose of this is just to keep our dogs sharp. Next to narcotics searches, this is what we do. We search for armed robbery suspects. We search for assault suspects. We search for people who've run from other officers during traffic stops, things of that nature. So this is probably the number 2 thing we do the most of. So we try to stay on top of it. Thanks, I hope you enjoy.
In the real world, the criminal, whoever's running, they're going to take the path of least resistance. They themselves are not even going to, go through thickness like that. They're going to try to take the path of least resistance, which is what we're going to be doing. Trying to, anyway. So we'll pick us a spot here, and we'll follow this and work it this way. The dog tracks that first scent he smells. So that person who ran from a house, ran from a bank, and he's tracking down the road, tracking through the woods, and you run through a residential neighborhood and there's kids playing. He's not supposed to be distracted by them and seeing them and then going after them, or going after some guy just standing on the street corner. He's supposed to stay on that scent that he first tracked. That is always the hope. That's the desired effect anyway. He was well, see, we came across right about where that willow tree's at, and we came straight across here, okay?
Yeah, y'all were right through here.
Yeah. We went through the bushes, but the way that air is pushing, because you can feel the air in your face. So the air pushed the scent over this way. Y'all went around it. Y'all avoided it. Dog's not wrong. He's just following where he smells. He's already smelling people where everybody's been. We've been behind these cars and everything. He's picking it up already. See where he's sitting in the air. Hey, buddy, Tim. Hey.
To read the dog as he's on the track, you notice Timmy's head's on the ground, his nose is on the ground. He's doing a little bit of casting back and forth, just scent checking, and he's pulling pretty good on the lead. So we're trained in recognizing that behavior, and that's how we determine whether our dog's tracking or not. Right now he's doing a check, so it's called well, people call it different things. I call it a check. He'll turn circles to check the scent, whichever where the strongest scent is, he'll go that way. These dogs are toy driven, not food driven, so we use different toys for different things. I pay my dog with a piece of hydraulic hose when he finds dope, but on a track I give him, it's called a fire hose tug. I give him that, I hide that tug for him, and when he at the end of that track he finds that tug, and that's his reward. Now in a real life scenario, he's hunting for a person, but our dogs are trained to apprehend at the end of a track, meaning they'll bite. So just in training, we try to just use toys as a reward, because if they get a bite at the end of every track, then they get very hyper focused, and that's all they want to do. Because of a human bite, it sounds pretty harsh, but it's their greatest reward for them, is to apprehend a person. So we try to keep a good median between training and real life, making the tracks as real as possible, but just paying them with a toy at the end of it instead of a person. But you'll be able to see some of the bite work we do later on today, and you'll see why they enjoy it so much. It's just instinct for them. It's not really something you had to train into them. They come with it. It's in their breed. If you notice now, Timmy's working pretty good. You see the wind is swirling, and that's things the handler has to take into consideration. The way the wind swirls around us, that scent's going to do some different things. Being that this is a different terrain, the scent's going to go lower when the wind blows that way. But if you notice, when we started down this hill, the wind was on our face, and now it's to our back. And if you pay attention to the dog, when he's circling, he's trying to check, like I was saying earlier, trying to find that freshest scent. And you'll see him, he'll do little half moons and circles around his handler. He's just trying to pick that scent back up. And that happens sometimes too. You get used to falling down or slipping or falling into creeks, things of that nature. It just adds into the real world scenario there.
Sergeant laid out my track for my dog, and he's just walking. He's not afraid, he's not scared. The dog still tracked him eventually. Took a moment, because where we're at is almost like a little fishbowl, and the air is moving around in that area, in that trough there, so it makes it harder for the dog. Which, it presented a challenge, but when he finally found it, I saw him stop. He had a change in behavior, like a distinctive change in behavior. And he stopped. He's like, I know it's here somewhere. And then he clued in on it. He finally found it. But it's just a good challenge workout for the dog. It's not a very long track. It was just a good challenge for the dog. And for the handler as well, to be able to watch the dog and know if he's on the track or not. I knew a lot of it when he wasn't, especially when he's looking up. He starts circling around, I know he's not tracking. I know he's trying to find it at that point. We found it though, after my yard sale.
Don't let videos.